Hannah is such a hypocrite. Hannah had that coming for her. You attention whore. God. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jessica, as if you can't tell from my channel name. Welcome. Please subscribe and stuff. Anyways, okay, moving on. So there is this show that is on Netflix. It blew up the past few weeks. It's super popular. Everyone talks about it. I see it on social media everywhere. It's called 13 Reasons Why. It's basically a girl, she kills herself, she leaves behind 13 tapes. Each tape has a person on it. It's basically her blaming them for her suicide. Even though she's the one who technically pulled the trigger or slit her wrists and bled to death in the bathtub. I have very high standards with my TV shows, and pull that up. I have very high standards with what I watch. So I was like, okay, since everyone is talking about it, I'm gonna watch it. So I watched the first episode. I was like, just the first 5 minutes of the show, I could already kind of tell that this was gonna be one of those shows that was pretty overrated. And it's one of those shows that all the characters are very sensitive and overdramatic. And apparently that's what kids these days like to watch. Every episode except for the last one was a little boring, but the last episode, I actually liked it. It was really intense. So, I'm just gonna give a little run through of my opinions on how each of the characters affected her. She's blaming them for stuff. I don't know. Anyways, just keep watching. I don't know how to explain what... Tape 1, side A. That is Justin's tape. And Justin was actually on these tapes twice, even though he wasn't the worst person. He didn't even do stuff like that bad though, so I'm confused. So what he was doing is him and Hannah, they were kissing at a park at night, and then Hannah was like so happy, she had a crush, so they were kissing at the park, and then apparently he took a picture going up her pants or something. It didn't show anything. It wasn't even that bad of a picture, but it was still embarrassing for her. And then the next day at school, his friends took his phone, saw that picture, and sent that picture. Well, actually, Bryce, the rapist, he sent that picture to the whole school, and then that humiliated Hannah. So that's why he was on there, because he took that picture, I guess? I mean, people are just assholes. They do things. I mean, that shouldn't be a reason for your suicide though. And then what pissed me off in this episode is, so Clay, he is the main character. Him and Hannah were friends. He has a huge crush on her. So after this whole thing, he sees the picture and stuff, and then Hannah looks at him, she's like, you saw the picture. And then I don't know if she was mad at him for seeing the picture. If she was, that's bullcrap. He sat down with her at lunch. He was jealous. He was so jealous, guys. He was jealous that her and Justin were dating, because he has this huge crush on her, of course. He sat down at lunch and she was like, hey, how's it going? And then I forget how the conversation transpired. He kind of snapped at her. He was like, yeah, well, sometimes it's better to wait. And then she got all triggered and offended. Her face changed. She was like, and she almost started crying. And then she was like, you know what, Clay? I'm sorry, but you really hurt my feelings. And then she got up and was crying and left. And I'm like, girl, you're so dramatic. I don't get it. But anyways, the first episode, I was like, okay, Clay's your friend. He said something because he was jealous, and then you just get upset and storm off and blame him for your suicide. That first episode, I was a little bit skeptical of the show, because I thought it was just going to be one of those over-dramatic teenagers who blame everyone for their problems. That's kind of what the show is. But... Next episode, episode 2. This is Jessica's tape. I know, that's my name. First impression of this Jessica character, I thought she was really bitchy. I started to like her later on a little bit. Since the two girls, Jessica and Hannah, are both new to the school, the counselor wants them to come to just get acquainted with each other. I get it, the counselor was trying too hard, but she was being really nice. And then Hannah and Jessica are going back and forth at the counselor oh, should we wave to you two in the hallways too? I get an assigned friend, how cool. And they were being really sarcastic and mean to the counselor for a long time. And I was like, you guys are so mean. They're so mean. Episode 3. This is Alex's tape, the blonde dude. There was this paper that the school was passing around where you would categorize best ass, best hair, best face, best whatever. And he wrote Hannah's name under best ass. And Hannah got offended by that. She took that pretty bad. And then at the convenience store, Bryce, the rapist dude, he grabs her butt and he's like, oh, so the rumors are true. That was too far. Bryce shouldn't have done any of the things that he did in the show, if you know what I mean. Okay, again, I don't think anyone's responsible for her death. She's the one who killed herself. But if anyone were to be responsible, it would be Bryce, because he is the one who did like all the bad things to her. But again, I don't think any of that was worth suicide. Episode 4. This is Tyler's tape. So Tyler, he's like the school photographer, and he goes taking like pictures for the yearbook, and what he did is he was being really creepy. He went outside Hannah's house while she was changing, and he was like taking pictures. And I think what I read online, because I forgot a lot of the plot line, he was upset that she wouldn't date him, so he wanted revenge, so he wanted to send that picture out. And then Hannah has this friend Courtney over, and they get drunk, and they start kissing and making out in Hannah's room. And guess who decides to come and take a little picture? And guess who also decides to send that around the whole school? Tyler. I mean, you couldn't tell it was them. They had no proof. You couldn't see their faces. I get he should not have done that. At least shouldn't have sent it around to this. Oh, also, Clay. I was shocked. In the episode, I was like laughing. Clay got that picture on his computer, and then in the episode, he reaches for his lotion, and then I'm like, oh, I know what's coming, literally. I'm like, I know what's coming after this. And then he grabs the lotion, I'm like, oh, you aren't, are you? Like, you wouldn't do that. Then he does it, and then you just see, like, on the camera, he's just going, I'm not gonna put my boobs jiggle on camera, he's just going like, while he's like looking down, and I'm like, ah, like, no, that's not okay, don't do that, like, you're nasty. But that happened. But yeah, I get Tyler should not have done that and sent an embarrassing picture of two girls like making out to the whole school, and people were like kind of guessing it was them and stuff. But then again, on the flip side, Hannah knew that there was a creepy dude outside taking pictures. Shut the blinds, girl! Like, shut the blinds. I don't even, like, keep my blinds open all the time. I'm doing it now because I need lighting for this video. But if you know there's a guy who's creeping outside your window taking pictures, if you're gonna be making out with someone that you don't want to be seen making out with, shut the blinds. I know you were drunk, but that doesn't prevent you from shutting blinds, right? Like, you could still do it. Anyways, that's where the logic was lost on me on that one. Episode 5 is Courtney. She is the fifth reason. Fifth tape. She is the girl that Hannah made out with while they were drunk, and she also got the picture sent around, and people were guessing it was her. Courtney, she is probably gay, and she doesn't want people to know that. And she feels very ashamed of it. Courtney was like, oh, since both my dads are gay, then people are gonna be like, oh, no wonder you're gay and stuff, and like make fun of her, so she didn't want that to happen. Then what she did was mean to Hannah. To cover her own tracks, she spread a rumor that Hannah and her friend were lesbians, that they invited Courtney for a threesome leading to that picture. So she spread that rumor around. So anyways, that was with Courtney. I mean, rumors happen in high school. It's just a thing that happens. I don't know. I don't feel that was worth suicide over again. I think Hannah's just really sensitive, just like half this generation. So this one was pretty mean. Tape 6, which was Marcus's tape. There was this Valentine's Day thing where you fill out this questionnaire and it partners you up with someone. So Marcus told Hannah, like, hey, I got you on my list. Do you want to go on a date? She was really happy, really excited that a guy would like her. She went on a date with Marcus. Marcus brings his whole, like, basketball team in with him. And Hannah's like, why'd you bring them? I thought it was just about us. And he's like, oh yeah, they won't bother us. And then halfway through the date, he like sits over and he like puts his hand on her lap and like grabs her, and I'm like, and then Hannah's like freaking out, like, no, my god, like, get your hand off me, you creep. And then he yells at her. He's like, oh, I thought you were easy, bruh. He storms out with his whole basketball team, except for one guy who doesn't leave, which would be Zach Dempsey. Zach is trying to talk to Hannah because he feels really bad about what happened with Marcus. He's being really nice to her. Hannah's just sitting there like pouting, like, I get her feeling like crap because that happened. But I mean, you don't gotta ignore someone when they're being nice to you. Like, even if you feel like crap, just don't do that. I hate when people do that. When they're in a bad mood and you're being nice to them and they like snap at you, I'm like, okay, I'm never talking to you ever again. I have no sympathy for people who do that. And then he's being nice to her. She's just ignoring him, looking out. It's probably been like half an hour and he's still sitting there just waiting. And then someone had to leave and he's just like, okay, I'm making sure you're okay. And he was being really nice. And then the next day he goes to join her at lunch just to make sure she's okay. And she yells at him. She's standing up. She's like, get off, like, go away, don't ever talk to me again. She's just being a total bitch. And then he's just like, okay, I don't know, I was just trying to be nice to you and stuff. What comes next? Hannah had that coming for her. Hannah had that coming. When he took her positive slips of paper that people would write, she had that coming. I would have gotten revenge too if I was being nice to someone and they just snap at me. I do not blame Zach for what he did. It annoyed me so much how Hannah was like playing victim and stuff. That was Marcus who did the bad thing. That wasn't Zach. She was pretending like Zach was a bad guy. Zach, he was salty towards her for yelling at him when he was being nice. In her class, people write positive things about each other and they put it in these bags. He took hers out for like a few days. She was trying really hard to make a point that, oh, those were the only things I had left in my life. How could you do this to me? My only hope is in those letters. Like, girl, you have Clay. You have your parents. Suck it up. Just a little letter won't hurt. She like writes a letter to him and leaves it in there, and then he gets it and he finds it. And it's a letter saying how those are the only things she has left. How she tells this story is that he crumpled it up after he read it and threw it on the ground. But he never did that, because in the end, spoiler alert, he still had that letter. He never threw it away. He never crumpled it up. So Hannah was lying. She was being too dramatic about that. So everything else she probably was like over dramatizing too. So that makes me not want to trust her. She also writes this really depressing confession, which the teacher reads to the class. Confession, I don't know, whatever it was. And it annoyed me how she was like, one of my friends kind of does this too. They go to far lengths to make sure like people know that they're struggling or whatever. Hannah writes this depressing letter. The teacher reads it out in class and looks back at Zach to make sure that he knows that she was the one who wrote the depressing letter. And I'm like, Hannah, you attention whore. God, just tell him to his face, or like, don't be a bitch in the first place. That kind of rhymed. That was so cool. I should be like a rapper. Just kidding. Anyways, that pissed me off. The 8th person that she blamed for her suicide is Ryan. There's this poetry club that Hannah was like trying to have fun at, and she was going because Ryan wanted her to come. He's encouraging Hannah to write her poems and stuff in a journal. He takes one of her rather darker, embarrassing poems and he publishes it anonymously in the school magazine or whatever, and then the whole school is reading it. They don't know it's her though. Then Hannah's psychology or whatever class was reading it out loud. People in the class were like raising their hands and like, oh, I'm guessing the person who did this wants attention. I'm like, you go, girl. I'm a terrible person, I know. I mean, at least it was anonymous. He still shouldn't have done that without her permission, but it was anonymous. Like, it's not that big of a deal. They don't know it's you. Keep your poker face on when people talk about it. Person 9 that she blamed is Sherry. So Sherry, I liked her. I mean, she made a mistake. You know, the car accident, they were leaving the party. Sherry was looking for a charger. She crashed into a stop sign. She's like, oh my gosh, my dad would literally kill me. And she's freaking out. She doesn't want to get a ticket, so she drives off. And Hannah's like, no, like, we need to call someone. So Sherry panics. She leaves Hannah. And then Hannah walks to the local gas station to call the police so they can put the sign up. Because they didn't call in time, that caused a kid at school to die because he crashed with oncoming. That was not good. And yes, Sherry, she should have stayed with Hannah, held up the sign or something. Like, come on, Sherry. But I get her freaking out, but also that led to someone's death. She wasn't a bad person though. She just made a big mistake. But I don't know why Hannah blamed her for her suicide though. I don't get it. If you guys get that, say it in the comments. Oh, this one, number 10, Clay. He is the main character again. Hannah's friend, loved her. What happened in this episode is they were at the party where her best friend was being raped. Her and Clay were both a little drunk. They went to go upstairs, you know, have a little fun. And Clay the whole time, he's like, oh my gosh, like, are you sure this is okay? And she's like, yeah. Oh, this is more than okay. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, definitely. And so they're going ahead, and then all of a sudden Hannah starts freaking out. She's like thinking of previous guys, and she starts freaking out. She starts yelling at Clay, like, get off me. She's like, leave. She's just going like raging mad at him, just yelling at him. He's like, oh my god, like, I'm sorry, did I do something? And then she's like, no, just leave. And then he's like, okay, do you need anything? And she's just like, he's like yelling at him to leave. And it's like, Hannah, God, you are. That pissed me off. What pissed me off the most is on this tape, Hannah said that one of the reasons for her suicide is because Clay didn't come back. If someone's yelling at you, they're pissed. They're yelling at you to leave. They're saying how much they don't want you to come back, and you leave. Why would you come back? Hannah was upset because he didn't come back. Like, of course you wouldn't come back. You were like raging, like yelling at him. Like, why would he come back? I would have like ran away. But yeah, that's when he left the party. And Hannah's upset because he didn't come back because she was telling him to leave. I wonder why he didn't come back, Hannah. dumbass. And also another reason Hannah blamed Clay for her suicide is because he refused to love her, or refused to admit that he loved her. Some people are just shy, okay? You don't gotta kill yourself because of it. This one. Reason 11. Hannah's best friend Jessica, they are at that party too. Jessica's drunk. Her boyfriend Justin, they're upstairs. She's on the bed asleep. And then all of a sudden Bryce walks in and he starts raping her. And now, meanwhile, Hannah, she is inside the closet, a little drunk, watching this all happen. And she's freaking out. Justin's boyfriend, tries to go stop him from raping her, and then he gets thrown out and like locked out of the room. So of course, like, he can't do anything about it. He can't like break through the door. I mean, no, I don't think he can. If anyone should have done something, that should have been Hannah. But no, Hannah was like, oh, I couldn't have done anything. I was too drunk. She wasn't drunk enough. Are you that helpless? And she is such a hypocrite, because in this episode, one of the reasons why she put Justin on this list twice is because he didn't do anything to stop him from raping her. Hannah is such a hypocrite. She had even a higher chance of helping her friend, but she didn't do it either. Number 12, which is Bryce, the rapist. This is when she's close to killing herself, and she's walking around at night before she kills herself. She sees this party, and it's the same party, same place, same people that she watched her best friend get raped at. What does she do? She goes inside the house. Wow, genius, am I right? And then she gets invited in the hot tub, she takes off her clothes and stuff, and they're all like nice. They're like, oh yay, Hannah's here, like come and join us. And then the friends leave to get some pizza or something. Guess who shows up? Bryce, the rapist. He comes in and he rapes her. That was the worst thing to happen to her. The other things did not compare. If anyone was to blame for her death, that would have been Bryce. I'm not trying to justify him raping her. He shouldn't have done that 100%. But then on the flip side, you just don't go back to the place where you watch someone get raped. That's also common sense. Like, she could have avoided that too. She could have definitely avoided that by just not going. Oh, and also I think what happened in that episode, either that or the next episode, Hannah was driving. Her parents trusted her to take some money to the bank, like $700. It flies off the roof of her car because, genius like she is, she forgets to put it back in the car when she stopped. She feels like she let down her parents. Her parents weren't even that mad at her. They were just like, oh, it's okay, honey, like whatever. My parents would have killed me. Hannah, that's your fault for losing the money. The last one, reason 13, Mr. Porter, the counselor. Hannah, as her last resort, she goes to him. She's telling him that she was raped. He's like, oh, can you tell me who it is? We could do something about it, put him in jail. And she's like, no. And he's like, okay, well, if you don't want to do that, then there's nothing else. Like, I guess the best option is for you to just move on. I get maybe that was a little harsh, but that's the truth. Like, there's nothing else that really do. Hannah's recording this whole thing, so she leaves, and then she was upset that he didn't follow her out of the room. The same thing that she was upset for Clay for not coming back to get her. She is like a screwed up attention whore. That pissed me off. You gotta stop expecting people to follow you. If you don't want them to follow you, they're not gonna follow you. Don't play like mind games with them all the time. But then the ending, she kills herself. You know, when I'm watching shows by myself, I usually don't react. If it's funny, or if it's creepy, I'm just like, but this scene, I was literally like watching it like, oh God. It was really disturbing. She's in the bathtub, just the blood like squirts out of her wrists, and I'm like, oh my God. Is that like physically possible? And then she's, you know, bleeding to death. I like felt really bad for her, even though she was a drama queen. She didn't deserve that. The tub's filling up, it's all bloody, and then her mom's outside the door like, Hannah, the water's overflowing. And then her mom walks in there and sees her daughter in a big tub of blood, and then she freaks out, because duh. I like that episode the best because things actually happened in it. Like, anyways, what does Selena Gomez have to do with this show? Like, I'm really confused. Like, I don't know. Probably the reason she gets lots of credit is because she's famous. My opinions on the show, I give it a 2 out of 5. Maybe 2.5. I just found it to be kind of like a little boring and just very over dramatized. A lot of people I know on the internet, it's annoying as hell. They're always like, oh, Hannah deserved better. Oh, Hannah's the victim all the time and blah, blah, blah. It's not like Hannah yelled at anyone or anything. It's not like Hannah was bitchy to the counselor. I see a lot of my friends on social media posting things like, oh my God, the show's so good. Like, And I'm like, my mom, she said, this show is going to teach teenagers that it's okay to blame your problems on other people. The actors are really good. I think the show was kind of overrated, and It teaches people that it's okay to be a pussy and kill yourself. Anyways, thank you.
Should've known not to trust you. You were too good.